All right. I need everyone to actually pay attention for a minute because what happened on CNN wasn't just a heated interview. It was the government accidentally admitting something they did not mean to at all. They tried to show us the blueprint for how people get killed and then erased. Alex Pretti is dead. He was 37 years old, a US citizen, an ICU nurse, someone who spent his entire career keeping people alive, and he was shot by a federal immigration agent in Minneapolis. Immediately after it happened, the administration went into full damage control mode. You know the script by now. We've all heard it 1,000 times. They said he was violent. They said he intended to kill officers. They said agents fired defensive shots, that he was basically a domestic terrorist. Those are strong words, heavy accusations, zero evidence. So CNN's Dana Bash interviews Greg Bovino, a Border Patrol commander, and instead of letting him ramble through talking points, she pushes back. And what you see is one of the clearest examples I have ever seen of a federal official being completely unable to justify a killing while still insisting it was justified. Dana asks a very straightforward question. Is it legal to be there? Is it legal to film? Is it legal to carry a firearm? Because all three of those things were legal in Minneapolis. And Bovino keeps trying to dodge it. He says they respect the Second Amendment. He says people can protest with firearms. He even says he's done it himself. But then, and this is insane, he says those rights don't count once law enforcement decides you're obstructing them. Dana asks a follow up question. How do you know Alex Pretti was obstructing anything? And Bovino's answer is one of the stupidest things I have heard a federal official say on live television. He says Alex Pretti meant to be there beforehand. Then Dana asks, how do you know that? And Bovino says, because he was there. That's it. That's the evidence. That is the threshold. Not an action, not a threat, not a weapon raised, not shots fired, just presence. Think about how dangerous that is, because what he's saying, whether he realizes it or not, is that being present at a police operation while armed legally and filming legally is enough to get you killed, and that your rights don't exist in practice, only in theory. But Dana doesn't let it go. She points out something that completely blows apart the government's narrative. There is no video of Alex Pretti attacking anyone. There is no video of him brandishing a weapon. There is no video showing him firing or threatening. What does exist is footage of multiple federal agents surrounding him, forcing him to the ground, restraining him, punching him, and then shooting him. So Dana asks the question that should have ended the interview. So what did he do that was illegal? And Bovino can't answer it. He just repeats the same circular logic over and over again. Law enforcement doesn't assault people. If force was used, it must have been justified. If someone is dead, they must have done something wrong. But that is their belief system. And that belief system is deadly. But here's the truth. Alex Pretti wasn't the target of the operation. He had no criminal record, he was legally armed, he was legally present, and he was legally filming. None of that mattered. Because once federal agents decide you're inconvenient, the story gets written after you're dead. And if you think this only applies to certain people, you are lying to yourself. This man was white, he was a US citizen, he worked at a VA hospital, he checked all the boxes conservatives claim should protect you, and it did not save him. So ask yourself, honestly, what chance does anyone have? If there hadn't been video, if there hadn't been witnesses, this case would already be closed. The press release would be treated as fact, the narrative would be locked, and the dead man would be blamed. And that's not speculation, because we've seen this play out again and again. First comes the killing, then comes the justification, then comes the smearing of the victim, then comes the demand that everyone wait for the investigation. But here's the thing. They don't actually want an investigation. They want time, they want the story to cool off, they want outrage to burn, they want people to move on. Dana Bash didn't accuse anyone of murder. She did not editorialize. She just kept asking for proof. And what we learned is that proof does not exist. There is no evidence Alex Pretti intended violence. There is no evidence he assaulted officers. There is no evidence he posed an imminent threat. There is only a strong assumption, enforced with guns, that federal agents cannot be questioned. And the moment you accept that, you accept that your life is conditional. Because according to this logic, you don't need to commit a crime. You just need to be there. That's it. This is about what happens when armed agents decide they don't need to explain themselves anymore. This is about what happens when the government starts treating accountability as a threat. And Bovino wasn't embarrassed. He was not shaken. He was not unsure. He said all of it with confidence because in his world, that explanation is enough. And if that explanation is enough for him, it's enough for the system protecting him. Alex Peretti's family is grieving. A nurse is dead, and the federal government wants you to believe that this is normal. This is how rights disappear, not all at once, but case by case, body by body. Because once he was there, becomes a death sentence, none of us are safe. Not protesters, not journalists, not bystanders, not you. Dana Bash didn't challenge a Border Patrol commander. She exposed how empty the justification really is. And the fact they couldn't answer her is the loudest part of that story. Because when the government can't explain why someone is dead, but still defends it, that's authority daring you to push back. And right now, they're betting you won't.